How are you doing, guys? It's Mark and Chris here and Callie from Aqualabs. They've let us out of the building today. We're going to come and show you around, give you a bit of a tour, talk about some products and just generally tell you what these guys here at Aqualabs are all about. Chris, can we have a look around?
Yes.
You lead the way, Callie.
As you can see, it's all very much full of chemicals and it's all very much full to the brim, but this is where the real magic happens, in this big tank here. The 2,000 litres that we make of all the products starts in there. So we start at the top there where we get the actual solid materials, which are all stacked around there, and go directly into a hot tank so that they're all dissolved and all done at a correct ratio to then be placed into the bottles. We then move over to this area. We've got a nice bottling area down here. But as you can see here, we've got a lot of the stuff stored within these tanks, and there's a unique batch number to each one as well. You'll also notice that we put each individual product has a batch number so that we can trace that. We know what chemicals have gone into there. We then know that if there's any issues with it and we need to recall, each bottle has that number on, and we know it's to do with that batch, so it's quality control.
Does that also relate to any sort of off-site testing that you might have done as well? So?
Definitely, it's one of the biggest things that we like to have an independent analysis done of everything we do so that we know that it is the correct formula of what we've stated is in there, so that we're not just doing it in-house and going, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. No, we have an independent analysis, so if it's ever any issues, we can produce a certificate of analysis for each batch. If that doesn't meet to our quality standards, we will go, no, that's not being bottled, we're holding that back, we'll make another batch. It's all about the quality for us, and this unique number here is what states which is which. So, as I say, this is where we sort of bottle, and as you can see, you'd expect with the manufacturing area, there's always bits and bobs everywhere, there's always a bit of spillage, but we do like to tidy up as we go along.
Is it always all bottled in-house, or is some of it outsourced as well?
No, we will send quite a bit out, we'll outsource quite a bit, because of the volumes are increasing. We have to send it to a bottling manufacturer who will bottle it for us rather than us doing it all in-house. If you can imagine, it's quite labour intensive doing it here, and as the orders are increasing to keep up with demand, what we'll do is we'll manufacture the tank there into these IBCs. That will then, as soon as we've got quality assurance back, we'll then send that off to our contract packages and produce that for us.
And again, you do spot checks on them to make sure they meet your standards.
They are all accredited. We don't use just some cowboy bottler with a shed down some back alley. These are accredited bottling plants that have got all the correct certification. They as well will do quality assurance, so they'll weigh the bottles halfway through to make sure you're getting the correct quantity in there as well. There's nothing worse than buying a product and this bottle's half full. This is not the same. They do continuous checks as well, and we've been up there and go up to the actual plant and then talk to them about what they're doing, so they can assure us that the stuff that's coming out is of quality and there's no cross-contamination again. It's something that we are very concerned about, of cross-contamination, and make sure that we've got those measures in place to be able to track anything and stop it getting out to the wider public if there's any issues. I don't know if there's anything really. As you can see, we've got our acid cage over there, so we keep everything locked up. Health and safety is a big thing to us as well, making sure that we keep things locked away from the chemicals. I don't really want to take you down that side of things because I don't want you breathing any dust that might be down there or getting it on yourself. But should we take you to the lab where the real magic happens and all the fun starts to happen? Follow me. Now this tank here is our RO tank, so the water that we use is pre-filtered, so we don't just use water out of the tap, which can vary in fluorides. People worry about chloramines. We use an RO machine which is based up there, which filters the water and removes everything from that. So before the water is used, that again is tested by an independent laboratory so that we know it's pure water and there's none of these things that people have worries about.
So you know exactly what products you're putting in, and the water that you're starting with is pristine as well to start with. Nice, very good.
As I say, chloramine seems to be a big one on people's radars at the moment and causing problems, and it's something that we have been a little bit concerned about. But we've always assured that we have a tank full ready of RO water that's as clean as it comes. Doesn't get much cleaner than that.
How often do you sort of make up nutrient solutions? Is it once a week or twice a week, or is it non-stop?
Well, it's on demand really. So
Right.
as we get an order in, the demand will come in. We will try to be producing daily,
Yeah.
so that there's not so much of a burden on us. So if
Yeah.
we're producing daily, things won't actually, we won't have to have a big rush. But we can do the capability of doing 4,000 litres a day. Hopefully we're going to be expanding soon, so we'll be installing another tank and other means.
Yeah.
But we also have this little area here as well for smaller quantities. So we've got extraction here, so we can make 200 litres worth of the smaller products, or of test batches as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not as simple as just going from 1 litre then take it to 2,000 litres. What we'll tend to do is we'll take it up slowly.
Yeah.
So we'll start with a 1 litre batch, which we can show you in the lab where it starts.
Yeah.
We'll then make 50 litres of that, see how that settles, see how that performs. We then take it to 200 litres, and then finally take it to the 2,000 litres.
So as you do sort of innovation and stuff, you always work small scale and build it up and work it across. Nice.
Because a foam which is only that big on 1 litre with 2,000 litres turns into this, and it's a completely and utterly different ball game to
Yeah.
deal with. So you've got foam coming out the top of the tank, and so it's always best to build it up gently. Of going, oh, we've got a foaming issue, we need to look at an anti-foaming agent, or something else to help prevent that, or a method. We try to use methodology as opposed to a chemical.
Yeah.
We don't like to just fix something with a chemical. It's a methodology thing. So
You need to do something in a different way to make it work then. Right, nice.
pre-solubilise particular compounds which aren't very soluble, so we can sometimes pre-dissolve them before adding them in a particular order. Sometimes, for example, potassium hydroxide, when you add that to water, will get really, really hot. You get what's known as an exothermic reaction, and that will get really, really hot. So we will find methods of keeping that cool to make it safe as well, and then before we add the other chemicals as well. So it's all about safety here as well. We're not, we don't just like to churn anything out and it all be,
So
hazard suits and.
films where you just like a bit of this and a bit of that, and yeah.
But we like to keep things, as I said, we like to build things up. We like to make sure we know what we're doing here. So let's take you into the laboratory.
I love the fact that you got kitchen blenders.
Well, what that is, that replicates what's going off in that big mixer. So that big mixer is...
the camera.
The kitchen mixers, we actually use those to replicate what's going off in the really large mixer, because this, as you can see, is a magnetic stirrer. It's just a very gentle stir in action. When that big mixer is going, it's a really powerful, big kind of thrashing around of the actual solution. This mimics that, so we can see 1 litre what will actually occur in the tank before we actually go ahead. As I said a bit earlier about the foaming that can occur, and other issues that when you're scaling up can occur. A foam which you see is that sort of size will turn it to this kind of size once you get into there. So that's why we tend to use those, as well as magnetic stirrers that heat as well. We've got various pieces of equipment here. We do all our testing as well to check for stability. We'll use an oven to actually check that the solutions will remain stable over time, any microbial growth that we need to investigate, so that you're not opening a bottle and you're finding you've got a big growth of something in there that's you wouldn't know would happen, because phosphates tend to encourage growth, as you probably already know. As you can see, it doesn't always go to plan, some of the stuff that we make, but that's science for you. But we like to keep a number of samples so that we are constantly monitoring what's occurring over time, so we've got a better idea. We set small experiments up as well in different systems within the greenhouse over there, just to see what happens to solutions as well when they're bubbled. That can seem to cause some kind of issues with particular products. If you're actually bubbling oxygen through them, they can become problematic.
Yeah, we've noticed that previously in store when we've done trials with tests, and no one's actually said that it does have a foam and you stick an air stone in there, and then the next minute you've got an explosion coming out.
And this is we like to test all of these parameters. It's back in the days when it was just NFTs and drip systems, we didn't seem to have this so much of an issue, whereas now people are realising you need to oxygenate your root zone to keep that disease away. So we like to make sure that our products are compatible with all systems, so we have lots of different means of testing that.
Ooh.
Yeah, any questions on any of the equipment here?
I'm a bit wondering why we've got
Ant farms. Oh, this will demonstrate beautifully later the effect of our Aquazone. What we're going to do is we're going to show you a normal nutrient. So this is basically to demonstrate, so you could have a see-through pot with media in it. Right. So what we've done there is press the medias together so it's a visual representation, and you'll see that with a normal nutrient it will go straight through, straight to the bottom. Our Aquazone allows it to penetrate the media, so as it's dried it will penetrate and fall out that way. We'll also show you another little experiment as well with a couple of Jiffy pellets that shows you the absorption as well, of how it's a lot quicker than it would be with any other sort of competing nutrient that doesn't contain the Aquazone within it.
Cool.
So yeah, a lot of people, have you got ants in it? No, I haven't got ants now.
Yeah.
It was just, I thought it would be a good visual representation for you guys to be able to see the movement of that.
And again, we'll come back to that when we start talking more about product specifics as well. So,
cool, not a problem.
Yeah.
Got microscopes as well, so we can take a look at things under the microscope. We always like to make sure any microbial growth we're keeping an eye on, because it's not always visible what microbial growth looks like. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick look at some of the solutions, particularly the ones that we've had in the oven, to see if anything's starting to grow and develop in there. And we'll use particular reagents to actually bring them out and dyes, which will show you the cell wall a lot easier than you would have just looking at, is that growth or is that just a bit of scum? So
yeah.
it allows us to actually identify that as well.